In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious melt in your mouth Sunday pot roast. And it's so simple to make. For some reason, it's called a Sunday pot roast, and that is simply because you need several hours for it to cook, not because it's difficult. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my tried and true family recipe for a Sunday pot roast. This is my mother's recipe. She has been making this pot roast since I was a little girl. So today we're going to do it the old school way, the best way. We're going to make our Sunday pot roast in the oven, and it is going to knock your socks off. So hey there, my name is Renee. Welcome to my kitchen, and today we are making Sunday pot roast. There is nothing better than a flavorful pot roast with potatoes and carrots, and I love to serve green beans and a big flaky biscuit on the side, right? Because you gotta have the biscuit to sop up all of the gravy from your pot roast. Oh, it's so good! And I cannot wait to share my recipe with you. So let's get to cooking. So to make this super simple, super easy Sunday pot roast, you need 5 ingredients. That's how simple it is. You need a can of cream of mushroom soup, a packet of onion soup mix, the dry onion soup mix, a little bit of worcestershire sauce. You need some carrots, some potatoes, and the star of the show, your pot roast. So today I'm using a 2.5 pound chuck tender roast. So when you go to your grocery store, how to find this, if it does not say chuck tender roast, it can also be called a chuck eye or a medallion pot roast. This is a roast that comes from the shoulder area and is full of flavor, a very beefy flavor, and it is ideal for pot roasting or a slow cooker. So I want to preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and I want to heat up my Dutch oven on the stovetop. If you don't have a Dutch oven, you can also use a very large pot that has a heavy bottom and a lid that can go in the oven. That's super important. So while my Dutch oven's getting hot on the stovetop, I want to mix in several ingredients into just a glass measuring cup. I don't need the measuring cup exactly, but it's just easy to do it in this, and I'll show you why. Empty 1 packet of your Lipton Onion Soup mix into the cup, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, and a couple of splashes of Worcestershire sauce. That was about 7 or 8 splashes. And just give this a mix. It's easier to get everything mixed and incorporated now versus when it's in the pan and you have a lot of water in there. Once it's mixed, add some water to it and just continue to stir that. Just added a little bit more water. Just get it incorporated. That's all we're doing. Okay, and just set that aside. The next thing I want to do is take my chuck roast out of the package. I am going to put it on a cutting board, and if there's just any of this fat, I'm going to trim that off. You're welcome to leave it. It's just something that my family doesn't like. And in most cases, see how that just pulls up? You can just pull that little layer of fat right off. You might need a little help with your knife, but it'll just glide right off. That's much better. Now that I have all that fat off of my beef, I want to salt and pepper it on both sides really well. So I'm using kosher salt. Then we want to take a dab of flour, and it can be all-purpose or self-rising. It really does not matter. This is just a thickening agent, and we're going to brown our roast. So just kind of toss that on, rub it onto your roast really good, flip it over, do the same thing on this side. And you really want to get it good and floury, because this is what's going to make our gravy that our roast cooks in thick. So if you skimp on the flour, then you're not going to have a thick gravy. So now my Dutch oven's hot. I'm going to put just a little splash of olive oil in there. You can use butter if you would like to. And I'm going to put my pot roast in my Dutch oven to sear it on both sides. So this will take about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. We want to sear and brown each side of the pot roast. Smells good already. Flip it over. See how we got a little bit of brown? We cooked the flour and we're going to let it go on this side. And we're not cooking the roast this way. All we're doing is searing and browning the outside super quick. All right, looks perfect to me. Now, this little mixture that we mixed up a minute ago, all we're going to do is add this to the pot and continue to fill it with water until your roast is covered. You can see why I like to use a measuring cup, because I can just keep filling this up over and over and making sure that I get all of my mixture out of there. Okay, almost covered. That's exactly how we want it, because when we add our potatoes and carrots, it's going to make this water rise and cover our roast. So this is perfect. So give this a really good stir. Get our soup mixture combined with the water. I am going to pepper the water, season it up really good. Then we're going to put our lid on the Dutch oven, put it in our preheated 350-degree oven, and set your timer for 1 hour. So that was so simple, right? We're not going to add our potatoes and carrots in the beginning because they will become overcooked. So in an hour, we're going to come back and we're going to add our potatoes first. We're going to have these prepped and ready to go, and then we're going to add our carrots. Carrots cook faster than potatoes. So if I put them in the roast at the same time, my carrots are going to be overdone. I don't like a soggy carrot. I want a carrot that is perfectly cooked. I'll see you back here in an hour. We're going to add our veggies, and then we're on our way to the perfect Sunday pot roast. So my roast has been in the oven almost 1 hour. So it's time to come into the kitchen, and I want to peel and cut up my potatoes. You want pretty good chunks of potato to go into your roast. If you chop them up really fine, they're basically just going to disintegrate into nothing. And I like a big, chunky, beefy pot roast with some good looking vegetables that I'm going to put in my bowl when I serve it. So I like to leave my potatoes in a pretty good sized chunk. So I'm going to get all my potatoes ready. I'm going to do about 5 potatoes because my husband loves potatoes. I'm a carrot kind of gal myself, but I'm going to do 5 potatoes for my 2.5 pound pot roast. And when it's been 1 hour, I'm going to take my roast out of the oven. Remember, your lid is hot on your pot roast. You definitely need a pot holder to take that off. Ooh, look at that. My juice is bubbly. My roast is cooking. I'm going to give this juice one quick stir, and it's already starting to smell so good. Even Pollux, the dog, came in here to check it out. Pollux, do you think you're having pot roast? Mooey, do you think you're having pot roast tonight? Maybe a little nibble, huh? Just a little nibble. I'm going to carefully add my potatoes. Make sure your potatoes are completely submerged in the juice. Put your lid back on and put it back in the oven for 30 minutes. And while my potatoes are cooking for 30 minutes, I'm going to go on and peel and clean my carrots. And again, I'm going to chop them up, but I'm going to leave them in a pretty good sized chunk. So add your carrots into your pot roast and give it a really good stir. Put your lid back on and put it back in the oven for 1 more hour. And the next time you pull your pot roast out, that gravy is going to be so thick and delicious. Your pot roast at this point should have cooked for a total of about 3 hours, but check your meat for doneness. Take 2 forks and pull apart your pot roast into big, hearty, healthy chunks of beef. You are not going to believe how delicious this Sunday pot roast is, and how simple on top of that. I love to serve my pot roast in a big bowl or on a plate with green beans and a big flaky biscuit. There is no better way to enjoy a Sunday pot roast.